What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 219 of the Dumb Marks podcast. You got the dynamic duo here today, me and Steve, original OGs.
The OGs. The OGs back at it again to wrap up 2024 with the last episode of the year for the Dumb Marks podcast coming in December 28th. What's good, man?
Hey, it's just us today. Dawn and Jason are both working this morning, so gentlemen, if you're listening in while you're at work, hit us up in the comments.
Yeah, have fun at that 9 to 5.
I'm sure they wish sometimes it was a 9 to 5.
Yeah, true that. True that. Nah, man, we're here. This week has felt like 17 weeks rolled into one just because of how long Christmas week is, so to speak. DJ, what's up? What up?
What's up, DJ? Do the Bubba.
Yeah, no. Long week, man. Long week, just chaotic. Not as bad as whenever the kids was younger, but it's still nice to be around family and that, and got to see a few people, and living a dream.
Christmas.
Yeah, living a dream. Get ready to rock and roll into the birthday week. So I'll be ready to go for that.
Was it last year whenever you drank a little too much, or was that the year before?
I think I was 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago.
Gonna repeat?
I don't know. We'll see, man.
See how the day hits.
Yeah, we'll see what goes on. I may pull the jersey out of the rafters and throw back one on there, but no, we're not doing what we normally do for New Year's Eve. So it's gonna be calm, cool, and collected. Probably. Who knows? I may be the only one in my house up at midnight. Who knows? But yeah, man, we're here. We're at it. Ready to rock and roll. Big show. A lot to get through. I'm sure me and Chris may throw some jabs here at each other. Poking the bear, so to speak.
We'll see how the week goes.
You're the the Tony Kornheiser, the Stephen A, the Skip Bayless. You're the main guy right now. So I'm just here to like I said, poke the bear and get some stuff off my chest when certain things come up. Because boy, oh boy, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. We'll wait till the soapbox pops up.
We don't like when we see eye to eye on stuff.
I know.
But I have a feeling this might be one of those weeks.
I know. I get it was Christmas and everybody's in a holly jolly season and be nice to people. I don't like necessarily coming on here and just agreeing with you all the time because that leads to a very boring show. So yeah, we'll see what we can do to cause some fodder across the airways here.
So before we get into the wrestling portion of the show, I wanted to share a story of what happened this week. DJ says eggnog glasses were flying in the Wavy household. Interesting.
Hey, yo, you can get I'm not. We're not going to throw the comment up there, but yeah, when you can get the older aunts and uncles or grandma and grandpa, if you guys are still lucky to have grandma and grandpa around, when you can get them into playing some type of family board game or card game or whatever, and they say something that completely is off the rails that you never thought grandma or grandpa, etc., would say, it just makes for the holiday season even better. Like Chris, you had that happen at your household, which is hence the title of the show.
That's going to be the story. This was perfect timing with DJ's story here.
Yeah.
So this week we decided for Christmas Eve, we got together Christmas Eve and day at our house, and for Christmas Eve we decided to play a couple games. My sister decided to tell us, everybody buy like a $5 gift, bring it. We'll do like a grab bag game, make sure everybody gets something. So everybody put the bags on the table. We picked the bags. But before we got to that point, we're eating dinner. And my sister looks at me, like leans over and she goes, someone brought a bag that says Big Nick Energy on it. I started cracking up. And I was just like, okay. So we put the bags on the table. And I didn't go first. Everybody started like picking bags, and Big Nick Energy is just still sticking around there. So I grabbed the Big Nick Energy bag.
That's tremendous.
So the
Let me
point
guess. It had to have been it had to have been your aunt or uncle that picked out the Big Nick Energy bag and didn't even realize that Big Nick actually stood for something else.
Yeah. Oh, they had
It
no
was
clue what
it was a play on words, and
Yeah.
that just ties right back into it where the older people get oblivious and stuff and don't know, and then it just makes it that much funnier because they're clueless and trying to fill them in, and then when the light bulb goes off, it's just like, all right, yeah,
I don't know
we'll
if the
tuck
light
this
bulb ever
story
did
in.
go off, but it got better because we played the game, and so that's the bag I started with. So it's like the game was like, you could pass around, you could steal, you could
Oh,
do
it's
all
like a
kinds
white
of stuff.
elephant.
Yeah.
It's like a white elephant. If you want to trade, you can make a trade and or keep it. Yeah.
So I ending up with the Big Nick Energy bag at the end. So I open it up, and what do I find in there?
If there's a Big Nick in there, I'll be cracking up. Nice.
But a big blue ball.
Disco ball.
So I had Big Nick Energy with a big blue ball.
Big Nick Energy and big blue balls. There you go. That's
just one.
But hey, sometimes it may be one or the other sometimes, right? But the fact that whoever bought that didn't even put two and two together and gave you blue balls and a Big Nick Energy bag, just tremendous. That's tremendous.
'Tis the season to be merry.
Yeah. Hopefully none of the ends ended up with big blue balls. Maybe that was a Christmas gift from your significant other. So
hopefully it was very holly jolly.
Yeah, holly jolly. Not getting what you get under the mistletoe, etc.
Hopefully you didn't have to go the ho 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 route.
Right. Because that Christmas gift can get expensive.
And that's the gift that keeps on giving too.
Some ways more than one. Yeah. Yeah, so but it was here. Christmas Day was good, except for the Steelers getting their ass beat. So
it was a big ass whooping.
I had to
you
leave.
Didn't go, right?
No, I didn't go. I had to leave to go pick my son up from work, and it was 16:10 whenever I left. By the time I got back home, it was 29:10. My wife had already turned it off the TV and put Christmas movies on. So, yeah, it was straight ass whooping.
How did you watch it? Did you watch it? Because
I watched it on Netflix.
Same.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix. I wanted to see the presentation, right? And for their first foray into the NFL, I thought they did a really good job with the presentation, production wise. I like the score graphic they had in the middle of the screen. I think there's other things that they would want to do to maybe separate themselves from an Amazon or a Peacock, right? But I feel the NFL may have came in and said, "Listen, it's Christmas.
Exactly, DJ.
We saw the issues with the Jake Paul, etc. Yeah. And now, granted, that fight got way more views than the NFL did, but let's not try anything crazy. Let's just make sure these games go off without a hitch. Beyonce concert beat the NFL, both NFL games as far as total viewers and ratings.
Okay.
So Queen Bee I think there was over 27 million watching her halftime performance. At one point in time, the NFL games were around 24, 24.1, 24.3 from a rating standpoint. So huge numbers, huge success. Thought it was well done. But I feel like as they get more games, I feel they will put their own stamp on it to make it known that this is a Netflix thing. Just like Amazon Prime has the all 22 where you can watch it from the sky cam and you can see all 22 players on the field, kind of like similar to the coaches tape that they would break down after the game. So yeah, we'll get more technology involved in it. The NBA has done stuff where they're making players look like NBA 2K, where you see like ratings and hot streaks, etc., and there's stats that pop up on screen whenever a player catches the ball. So I'm sure we'll get all that as we move forward and technology continues to be brought into the fold with these streaming services. But so overall, I thought it was a good job from Netflix.
And you brought it up from the about the Jake Paul fight. Whenever I tuned in, I didn't notice any issues at all. I did see people talking that they had issues, like some buffering things. I don't know if maybe like just because of my internet was a little different, but I didn't have any issues. And that was pretty much the main reason why I wanted to tune in to see. This is probably the closest we'll get to seeing what like Raw will be like on Netflix in a couple weeks.
I will say though, when you have WrestleMania on Netflix, that's where the correlation to the Paul Tyson fight will come in, because of how many people around the world tune in for WrestleMania.
Welcome back, Taekwon.
Taekwon, Merry Christmas. Hey, Taekwon, update on the shirt. Okay, true update, legitimate update. There's no more BS. Okay, the package went out this week. Hopefully you get it before the new year. The processing, they hit me with a 10-day delay on the processing from when the order was placed to them actually getting it out. So you can blame that on the producer there, where we have the merch at for that. But it is out. It is en route. So when you get it, thanks for playing along. Good sport. Okay, I had to drag my bit out the whole year just like you did with Luigi Primo, but I'm a man of my word. Said I get you a free shirt. I sent you the shirt. So it is in the mail. You should have it hopefully this week sometime. Just hit me up on Twitter or hit us up on Twitter or on the show if it's a weekend. Just let us know that you did get it, because I'm tracking it right now to make sure that it does get delivered. All right. Which pit we talking about, Mark? Because they're all terrible, you know.
Maybe it's open-ended.
Yeah, it's open-ended. You know, I don't know how many more things. You know, the only thing being worse than a Pitt fan is living in Cleveland. So, Mark, I feel for you there. You know, being around Browns fans all day long. But yeah, not a good year. Hey, Pitt put on one of the most entertaining bowl games ever, but lost to Toledo 48-46 in 6 OTs. Yeah. See now why see Taekwon? Yeah, the one on the t-shirt. Yeah. Long-term storytelling. See, DJ gets it. You gotta book the show properly. You gotta have it draw out. We're not giving you Ospreay and Ricochet 2 weeks after Ricochet comes into the company. No. We're giving you Hogan Savage from WrestleMania 4 to 5, or where we're doing the Mega Powers breakup. We're going through the whole lineage of storytelling here. And the payoff will be Taekwon getting a shirt a la his Cody Rhodes moment at WrestleMania 40 last year. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the week. So, Steve, why don't you kick us off? Why don't you give us your Mount Rushmore for the week?
Mount Rushmore this week. I did have some in-ring action initially as far as my Mount Rushmore this week, but I tuned in last night to SmackDown, even though it was a tape show. Was not live last night, but Chelsea Green, she was the Mount Rushmore last week for winning it. I can't knock her off 2 weeks in a row. Her celebration, just the whole presentation with the red, white, and green. And, you know, now you're in the greenhouse, and just everything she does. She's pure entertainment when she's on screen for me. I loved everything about it. You know, eventually I'd like, her and Piper are so great together. I don't want to see a turn and like have Piper be the one to beat her, but that may be logical storytelling in that sense.
Okay.
But yeah, they're both. Piper's tremendous too, but Chelsea is just so over the top over, and every single line she said had the fans cheering except for the "I'm Canadian and Canadians don't lie." That got booed, but everything else was cheered. So like, she just,
I don't know. The crowd kind of sounded quiet during that whole segment. Like it just didn't. Like she would talk, and like there's a lot of times where I just thought, like, why isn't there a reaction here? Like, the Canadian thing got a reaction, but just like, that's what I was hoping was going into that segment. I was like, this has potential right here, and it fell a little more flat for me. That I just didn't.
I thought it was taped last night, but
I know last week was taped. Yeah, I wasn't sure about last night.
I just thought it was taped based off of them doing their holiday house show loop, like that they taped it, but maybe it was live and we got what we got just because of the people that are on the house show loop doing the holiday house show, which the holiday house show was here in Pittsburgh last night. Did not go down for that, so don't know what happened. Haven't seen any video come out. Unlike the Madison Square Garden one where we saw Punk in the shower cap. And that is like, people are like, oh my God, if AEW did this, they would be burying the company. It's like, it's a house show. That shit happens all the time on house shows. The only reason why you're seeing it is because everybody and their mother has a camera phone nowadays.
You tape everything now. WWE used to tape this stuff, but never showed it.
Yeah, it never got out. Like, they've been doing that on house shows for 40 years. Like, that's the silly shit that makes house shows great. Right? Like, that's...
They try to treat it more like an indie show than like a TV program.
Yeah. But no, Chelsea Green for me, keep her entertaining, keep her going. I'm not going to knock her off. There was nothing that caught my eye this week that would bump her off the list.
True.
So that's why she remains.
The only things that kind of, her and Kevin in the car last night, those were the only two things that I kind of felt like could have been up there.
The only other thing was the Drew Sammy promo on Monday to kick off Raw was good too.
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
If I would have watched that live, I would have turned it off.
See, I thought that was...
There wasn't anything about that had me interested at all. That was...
There we go. First disagreement in the show right there.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that. I'll be honest, didn't enjoy much this week. And Raw, I thought was pretty forgettable.
I mean, it's hard when you have a double show, a tape show put out there, just because of like the crowd being there for so long and everything else. We see this with AEW all the time, with their stuff. But I thought it was a decent showing for being a tape show. Like there was advancement in storylines. It carried over to Friday with Sammy showing up again. Not there for the reason people wanted him there for, which as soon as they saw Sammy on screen, everybody on the timeline was like, "Oh my God, he's there to make Kevin Owens give the belt back." It's like, no, he's not at all.
It's nothing to do with that story right now.
Nothing to do with Kevin at all. So
if they did that, I probably would have hated on that more, because why would they even intertwine him in multiple storylines at the same time? So
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at least they kept that going, like with the bloodline. Like that's the reason why he was there. He just says when Sammy's in the ring without the bloodline, he's just a whiny little baby bitch.
Yeah. So, but nah, it's, like you said, it was a rough week, so to speak.
Yeah. I'll hit before I give mine. I'll kind of go into that and get into the mushes of the week. Jason's Mount Rushmore was the NXT Christmas Chaos Fatal 4-Way Tag match. He thought that was a good, entertaining match. I know we hate the Christmas theme matches, but at least this one had some stakes to it. Number one contendership. So it didn't feel half-assed. I saw little promise in the tag division, and kudos to WWE for not slapping the Christmas theme shit on the main roster.
And no complaints there with that.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see that. I didn't watch NXT, so I'm not sure really how that turned out, but he definitely... Him and Donald both had something from NXT. Donald's was Roxanne's vignette on NXT. Love how she ran down her career at NXT and ran down Julia. Great work from her. Definitely a sign that she is losing and moving to the main roster. So I don't know when that match is. I don't know if is that New Year's Evil that they're going to fight.
Did you so ESPN, obviously, people are putting out their year-end awards, right?
AEW did that, Taekwon.
So everybody's putting out their year-end awards, right? And you're getting, and this is what I just find amusing. ESPN put out their year-end awards. It's like you don't cover pro wrestling like that at all. But you're going to throw out year-end awards and lists and everything else. But for Women's Wrestler of the Year, they gave it a tie between Roxanne and Toni Storm.
Okay, interesting.
So it ties into Donald's. Yeah, it ties into Donald's Mount Rushmore there. Roxanne, when you look at it, had a hell of a year. Like, I don't know if she's up there for Women's Wrestler of the Year, but I definitely don't agree that she should be tied with Toni Storm in that category.
Yeah.
Like, not at all. So, like, yeah, Ricochet, best heel in the business, Taekwon. Yeah. Him trying to get over the Jadakiss is just killing me every single week.
Since when is Taekwon a Ricochet fan? Yeah, like I get it, DJ, but
see, I can't.
It's two different things too. Like, I don't know. Like,
and again, I don't know ESPN's criteria.
What's up, Mr. Cream and Wheat?
I don't know ESPN's criteria for their list. I don't know how what they use to come up with their rankings as far as, you know, each individual category itself. But they had Roxanne and Toni tied. Cody was male wrestler of the year. Trying to remember if I saw any other ones, but yeah, Roxanne's had a hell of a year. Do I necessarily I don't see her beating Julia though. Like, I feel like the run has hit its end game, and it'll end. But who knows?
DJ, it's probably definitely an intern. That's usually just to make content. That's what everybody's for. That's what right now is. Everybody does like their year-end stuff, so everybody has to get it on it.
Yeah, we do ours at the beginning of next year. So tune in for next week's show where we'll recap 2024 and give our breakdown. We got five or six categories. Some are different than others. We don't just normal run with the standard quo because we don't do that on this show. So tune in for next week's show where we break down.
And we'll all be here to deep dive into it.
Yeah, we got some interesting categories. I'm sure there'll be plenty of banter back and forth based on some of these selections that individuals will have between the four of us for our year-end awards, but we'll get to that next week for sure.
A little teaser. Nothing wrong with putting that out there. As I said, it was for me wasn't much of an enjoyable week in pro wrestling for me. My Mount Rushmore, I think you're gonna hate this one, but I'm giving it to Rampage ending.
All right. No.
That was the best part of the week for me, was that show is finally
the show done. Ending and going off the air completely.
Oh,
is that what you're giving to Mount Rushmore?
Not the overall ending of that show, just the show ending.
Just the show ending is your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
All right. So I won't badmouth it that bad then, because that to me is my mush of the week.
The ending of the show?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
The mush of the week.
Go ahead.
The mush of the week.
Exactly, Jason.
Again, I'm gonna tee this off with what I've been saying the past couple weeks. What are we doing? What are we doing? You have the main antagonist, the main babyface in this storyline. Don't count the four guys wrestling for the title tonight. The three babyfaces, if you can count Hangman and Jay White as babyface.
Yeah.
Darby Allin has been the biggest antagonist in the storyline, or protagonist, whichever one means positive. I think it's pro, whatever.
No, DJ. The ending was not good.
You just randomly decide on the last Rampage ever that now you're going to take out Darby Allin by stomping a chair on his neck and throwing him down steps and take him out, and then go into the production truck to pull the plug and take over Rampage, take over TBS. This is what you should have did 2 months ago whenever you said you were going to take over TBS.
And then before they even took over the truck, they smashed the stuff in the arena And I'm like, why are we doing this? Because you're not ending Rampage. Like, you're destroying AEW production. So you're making it seem to me like, oh yeah, we're gonna come out Worlds End tonight, and everything's gonna be fine. Like,
it was just the biggest cluster of shit thrown together that made no sense at all. The bad guys were getting their asses handed to them again until Pac decided to take out the electrical board. And then somehow they all scurry away, and Moxley and Marina Shafir end up in the production truck. And then Moxley cuts the promo in the production truck, and it's like, dude, what are you even talking about? Nothing you said in this promo makes sense to comparable with anything else that you said from a promo wise.
But he was saying, I think it was on Rampage last night, because his promo on Wednesday night and the shit last night just kind of blend together for me. But he's sitting there talking about, I think it was last night, where he goes, I don't need to wear a belt to be flashy. Like, that's not who I am. That's why it's in the briefcase. I'm sitting there going, I was like, you're already fucking champion that wore the belt. Not only here, but in other promotions. So what's different now? Like,
yeah. Taquan being the biggest Ricochet fan in 2025 is not what I had on my 2025 bingo card already. But no, man, like this whole Death Rider storyline and where it's gone and what they've done and how they've played out, like this fully encapsulates what is wrong with AEW.
Yeah.
Because in the very beginning, it was a hot angle that had a promise and people were interested. The cryptic promos made sense, but you never got a payoff. You never got a payoff. You never got, the higher power or the bigger than AEW reveal and payoff with a la Shane McMahon or whatever they're going to do with that. And then it just completely floundered and matchups haven't worked. Like, it's been the drizzling shits. And it's like, what are we doing?
I'm giving them, what I said a few months ago if Moxley won the title. But at that point, I still had a little intrigue to seeing what would happen, with this storyline. And yeah, what you exactly said is completely right. Like, it's dragged on to absolute nothing. I'm here at this point. Tonight's World's End. Wednesday is the big streaming event, the stream of all streams, whatever the hell they're calling it on that.
It's another new era. The company's been around for 5 years and they've had 15 era changes. Yeah. What are we doing?
If something doesn't happen to advance this storyline between either tonight or Wednesday, like, AEW is like getting cut. Like, I can't keep doing this shit. Like, it hasn't been good in these 2 months. And I just can't keep watching it.
Darby did an interview where he's planning on climbing Mount Everest in, I think, June.
Okay.
June,
which he was supposed to already do, but
yeah. And then he broke his foot, so he couldn't go. And he wants to plant an AEW flag on the top of Mount Everest. So I fully expect Darby Allin to win at Revolution or Double or Nothing to be the AEW champion up on Mount Rushmore with the belt planting the flag.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. Mount Everest, Mount Rushmore. And if that happens, I'm done with AEW.
I mean, they're definitely teeing it up, and this is.
I already can't buy into Darby being a world champ.
Yeah,
it would be like
about that.
It would be like ECW putting the belt on Spike Dudley.
I can understand that.
Darby and Spike are like, you can argue that they're parallels.
The only way I can justify that match, I think, is him and Mox are both like the hardcore styles. And I think that's the only way that you put something like that in that, like a level playing field in that type of match. That's the only justification I could see Darby winning. Is he's not winning clean. He's winning because he puts Moxley through fucking thing of plate glass or something, and that's how he wins. Like, it's not going to be the type of run that I'm looking at. Like, you're not going to have like the Bryan Danielson winning the title and having like being the underdog advancing over and over again. Because
look, man, if you as the booker of AEW if you're Tony Khan and you put the World Heavyweight title on Darby Allin before you put it on Jay White, before you put it on Okada, before you put it on Will Ospreay, hell, before you even give it back to Hangman, before you give it to Kenny Omega in his return, before you put it back on Swerve, like before you put it on Bobby Lashley, before you put, I can keep going on down the list. If you do that, you have no idea what you're doing at all. I don't care how
AEW
big
hasn't done like a
reaction he gets.
transitional champion yet, but
I don't care how big of a reaction he gets. I don't care how big the fan base is. He is not a world champion.
yeah, when there's a lot bigger talent. And it comes down to the problem. The talent pool is there. But just what they're doing with the talent pool, that just doesn't make sense. And we're going to get into that in predictions, because there's some shit in there that needs to be discussed on how things move forward with certain people.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could have put other things from AEW as my mush to this week, like the fact that Toni Storm is making her pay-per-view return, and it's on the pre-show to the pay-per-view tonight in the 0 hour against Layla Gray, because Toni Storm is now a Ring of Honor wrestler, and she's going to work her way up, I guess. I don't know, but she already was back on Dynamite and Collision and Rampage. So, like, why are you having her go to Ring of Honor? I don't care that she has amnesia and doesn't realize that she's been timeless Toni Storm. Putting her in Ring of Honor doesn't mean shit. And the fact that she's been in AEW TV and then goes back to Ring of Honor, is now wrestling on the pay-per-view in the 0 hour. Like, could we not have put Athena on there? If we're just going to throw random Ring of Honor women wrestling matches on the 0 hour, why is Athena not there?
Agreed. There's no because she's there. She travels with the company. She's there.
But instead, you're getting an AEW Dark / Rampage match with Toni Storm and Layla Gray.
Jason says a week before Darby, Trips is going to take a helicopter up and plant a WEID flag.
I don't know what the hell they're doing with Toni Storm. Like, Toni Storm makes it entertaining because Toni Storm is entertaining. But what they're actually doing with Toni Storm, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with a lot of the women's wrestling. Like, why is Mariah, not to jump forward here, but like, I'm just going to throw this question out there and we can circle back around on the prediction, but why is Mariah May and Thunder Rosa fighting in a Tijuana street fight?
Just because.
And the stipulation was announced whenever the match was booked, before any storytelling was done. So you're just throwing it out there because Mariah May disrespected Thunder Rosa's dad and said that he was irrelevant in pro wrestling. That's why we're having a street fight?
Sure. Makes as much sense as anything else that they do.
And what has Thunder done to get a number one contenders match? What has Thunder done to be the person to have this title match?
I mean, she's only been on Collision, right? Or Rampage.
No, the thing that Thunder Rosa is most known for is holding up the WTF sign when Toni Storm actually came back. And I love Thunder Rosa.
Oh, yeah. No complaints with the wrestler, but if wins and losses are supposed to matter, like, how's she the number one contender?
All right. What other mushes we got before we get into the pay-per-view prediction?
All right.
I'll just keep. It's gonna come back and circle back around whenever we go through this card too. So, sorry if you don't like a bitch fest. I'm sorry. This is Festivus, a late Festivus run here, because this pay-per-view tonight, man.
Oh, I won't be paying for it. We'll go with Donald's, because I'll get into Jason's, and that'll Jason's kind of ties in with mine, so we'll cover those together. Donald's mush of the week is the NXT title picture turning into a triple threat. It just waters the match down, and it's the way for Trick and Oba to not get the pin. It also shows you that Trick needs 2 more guys in the ring to carry his ass in the ring.
Donald hates Trick as champion down there, man. Look, the Trick run hasn't been good.
No, it hasn't.
And I think the second iteration of Trick's run has been worse than the first.
Yeah. Because it wasn't needed. It should have been a short run.
Look, do I expect Obafemi to pin Eddie Thorpe and be NXT champion? Yes, I do. Is that the right call? Who knows? Does that bury Trick? Maybe. But the fact that, they did this Jussie Smollett Eddie Thorpe angle where he fakes an attack just to get a title shot, I thought was creative booking. But then to throw it into a triple threat match, yeah, no, I'm not here for it. Like,
that's part of the reason why I've given up on NXT. It's like I'll agree with you guys. Like the women are the shining star of that brand, but I can't watch it week in, week out whenever there's so much other bad stuff that goes on there. I think you froze up.
You have other people out there that you could tell stories with Trick that will help his run that are there. Like you have Wesley that you could do a storyline with.
They were doing a storyline that's doesn't seem to be going where I thought it was going to go.
You have that. You have the Oba. Like you can do Oba coming back in, right? Like I just sometimes like I understand you have when you really look at the men's division in NXT, you have slim pickings from guys right now down there that are not like green guys. Like when you lose Braun, when you lose Mello, when you lose Ilya, that left the men's division very bare in NXT. And
nobody's really stepped up as much as they maybe could have.
Which is why I don't understand. Why did you take the belt off Ethan Page?
Yeah.
He's the one guy that has star power. He's the one guy that has a name. He's a heel. You could there was a lot of things you could have did there. So I mean, having Trick beat him on the CW debut show just to have Trick win just didn't do anything there.
Yeah. I didn't love it when they did it. I got why they did it then, but Page should have won the title back.
Then you get into a hot potato with the world title, and that's not good either. What's yours and Jason's?
All right, Jason's. We'll start with this, then we'll tie into mine. Jason's January 6th.
Hank and Tank main event, stand and deliver. I'm definitely turning off NXT.
Jason says January 6th. It can't come soon enough. At this point, it's just the new $9.99. You might as well just trot Hogan out there as a spokesman. That's how bad it's gone.
Whoa. There's so many different things that we could say about this right now.
WWE debuting, the Raw debut on Netflix on January 6th.
It's Jason's mush because he's tired of seeing everything surrounding January 6th.
Yes.
Which I said last week. I mean, yeah, we went on that tangent last week. I think Jason just carried his homework assignment over this week. Just threw that out there.
So mine to tie along with that is Netflix and WWE this week released their trailer for Raw coming on. And what happens on there? They spoil the return of Becky Lynch. So that's my mush. Like, how
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Thanks for spoiling it.
They go through like the talent, like in the ring. Like some of them do moves, some they're just showing them in the ring, and there's the man right in there. It's like, seriously?
That's like Pro Wrestling Noah spoiling the debut of Almost, and then he showed up at the press conference today. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's so hard to keep a return or a surprise from getting out there nowadays. We see it all.
That was an easy one to not spoil.
Well, I mean, you could have put the pieces of the puzzle together because of how much press she's done for this run of Netflix. Like she's been one of the people that have been out there front and center, especially from a women's side of press. Like I wouldn't have had her done anything.
Yeah.
If you're going to bring her back, like no, and just
radio silence is best for a return. It's not like she's injured. It's not like she's been out injured and was just, coming back from that. Like that, I can understand that she's still under contract. This was her contract expired, and she's technically a free agent right now.
I mean, we'll see what happens on the Raw debut.
Yeah.
We'll get into that more next week as well. When we run through that. So again, foreshadowing with our year-end awards, we got the Raw debut episode.
We'll have to cover next week.
Yeah, there will be a lot because I'm sure we'll get into the AEW on Max and break that down and everything. So yeah, it'll a lot to get into on next week's show for sure.
All right, should we get into the show? The predictions?
Yep, World's End. Let's get it.
All right, we got 3 matches on 0 hour. We can hit through these pretty quickly, I'm sure.
I thought I saw 4, but all right.
We'll kick it off with the 8-man Outrunners and Top Flight versus Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and the Murder Machine.
I get it. It's a pre-show and it's 0 hour, so it really doesn't matter.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, all hands on deck. They've been telling this story with Leo Rush and Andretti and Top Flight for a couple weeks now, but even that they screwed up last night because Andretti and Leo Rush did like a little 1-minute thing backstage that they released on social media, and it was like, this is the shit that could be going on your show to help improve your show. And it's not taking up a lot of time. It was 1 minute. So I don't know. I'll go with the baby faces here.
Same. Outrunners they're over. I might not be a huge fan, but they're over, and just
the fact that Murder Machines and Brian Cage and Lance Archer mean absolutely nothing as part of the Don Callis family, again, is just another thing of what are we doing with your booking?
But how many times have we said that about Brian Cage in AEW? I mean, that was from rookie year in AEW.
But it's been with Lance Archer since he debuted with Cody with Jake the Snake.
Don't get it, but Brian Cage only mattered whenever he was FTW championship. And how many people can you really say that about?
That's another thing. You brought up FTW championship. Sidebar, not to go into the weeds too much, but why was Taz back on commentary on Wednesday night? Just because they were in New York?
They didn't hype it up. Like, you could have hyped the return of that.
But what's the point of having Taz there if the storyline is Hook wanting to get his hands on Christian Cage for taking you out? And Taz makes no reference of being attacked on commentary. So if Taz doesn't care about being attacked and taken out on commentary and he doesn't say anything, why do I care about Hook trying to get revenge on Christian Cage, the guy that took out his father?
I haven't cared about it.
Listen, I'm not saying that it's the greatest story that they're running with there, but at the same time, like, come on, man. Like, this, you're missing the basics of Pro Wrestling 101.
That, for me, though, Taz being back on commentary was the bright spot of Dynamite. Like, it was just good to have him back on.
But he's not back full time. He was only there because they were in New York at Hammerstein. He can't travel yet. He's not cleared based on his knee replacement and everything else.
Okay, I didn't know that. So that doesn't make sense.
Like, you literally just had him back because it was New York and you're there. But you're shitting on everything else that you've done just for that.
So if you were going to do that, wouldn't it make more sense for Taz to get attacked again?
Something happened.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have it out there as like this big elephant in the room that nobody talks about and then expect me to carry on and stay invested in the story that you're telling. Because Hook wrestled Nick Wayne on Rampage last night.
Yeah. doesn't make sense at all.
Next match.
Moving on to your match, Toni Storm versus Layla Gray.
Again, I get she has amnesia, and she's coming in as like this rookie just breaking into the business, and she got to get her start somewhere and everything else. But you've already done this on 3 different shows on AEW, and all of it has been disrespectful to who Toni Storm is.
And why is AEW playing it like they have amnesia with her? Like, why are they playing into that? Like, you can be booking her, like she can do the gimmick, but you book her normal. Like, because whenever her graphic comes up, it says she's 24-1 for 2024. Like, okay, so your stats are right, but you're not
24. You're throwing up 24-1 on her graphic as she walks down the ramp, but yet she acts like she's never been in a company before.
Yeah, like that was something on. It was either Rampage or Dynamite whenever she came out that I paid attention to, because I was like, I want to see if they're playing the gimmick on her stats too. And whenever I was like, oh no, they're just her stats. Like, I mean, Tony's got to win.
Yeah, no shot at Layla Gray, but Tony.
All right, last match on 0 Hour: Jeff Jarrett versus QT Marshall.
Is QT just the 0 Hour wrestler? Is he the Usos of the 0 Hour in AEW, where he's on every pay-per-view wrestling in 0 Hour? He wrestled the Costco guy on the last show, and now he's wrestling Jeff Jarrett for reasons what? Why?
I couldn't even tell you why this match happened.
We're not even going to pick this. Let's go into the main card.
All right, first match up. We'll cover the TBS Championship for the rematch between Mercedes and Statlander.
What a terrible job of booking a rematch.
Why is this even a rematch?
It's arguably could be thrown up there that their first encounter could be in the conversation for Women's Match of the Year.
Definitely. It was a great match.
But since that time, you've had nothing happen except for Mercedes and Camille just completely ending Camille's career from a booking standpoint. Statlander.
Jason said on the previous one, the Boom guys will probably run it.
Oh, Jesus. If that's the case. You've had Statlander, who all of a sudden is friends with Willow again. Why? Like that you had Statlander, who was probably the best women's heel in your entire company.
Yeah.
Better than Mercedes at being a heel, with Stokely, who had a tremendous heel run, arguably match of the year with Willow, and then all of a sudden, just because that's over, Stokely is in purgatory, Statlander's a babyface, and her and Willow are friends again. Basketball reasons, I guess. I don't know.
I was going to say, it's probably one of those stupid-ass reasons like Moxley did a few years ago. If you bleed with me, then no one can be friends.
But again, like, is the match going to slap? Probably. Why? Because we've already seen them do it, and they have chemistry together, and they work really well together. And bell to bell, I'm sure it'll be exciting. But there's no reason for me to care to watch because you've done nothing to get me invested.
And why are we doing it back-to-back? Give me a break in between it, because now this match is only going to be compared to the last match, doing it back-to-back like this.
And then if Statlander loses again, what? You've had her lose twice to Mercedes. What does that do? What does that do for Statlander? Except make her not credible. Just like you did with Anna Jay.
And you're just running through the division to run through the division.
This is what makes me mad whenever I talk about AEW.
It has so much potential.
That's the other thing. We could sit down here if we really wanted to. We could have did this entire podcast on rebooking this pay-per-view and actually add storylines and content into each one of these matches to get people in the door and want to buy a ticket and want to buy the pay-per-view because of how well you could have done with setting up this card. And you've done nothing. You can't just,
we talk about when to redo Dumarks After Dark again. That could be rebooking an event.
Just relying on bell to bell is only going to get you 600,000 people. We've seen that consistently. Yeah. Sometimes less, sometimes a little more. But that's all it's going to do. And you can tout out what your company's worth, and you can tout out being thrown on the Forbes top business maker deal list and whatever else you want to do. But growing your product and making people want to tune in and get people to actually buy into what you're doing and selling each week. Most people watch AEW now to hate watch it.
But like I said, if you want change, just stop watching it and hope that the low viewership makes them actually make the change.
I mean, one of the reasons why Rampage is actually just done as a show and not even coming back is because Fox told AEW, your ratings sucked. We're not buying the show.
Understood. Listen, Fox said that people didn't care about SmackDown being on Fox. You know, like it got good ratings for WWE, but it didn't get good ratings for Fox and the affiliates. So whenever Fox said that, it didn't make sense for them to invest again because they didn't get the return on investment that they did the first time. That tells you why would they invest in AEW?
Yeah, just I got Mercedes, but this is I'm upset because of like how I'm talking about these two women in this match.
And put a little more on what we're talking about outside of this match. During the media call yesterday, Tony said that he is staying on as head booker in 2025. No surprise, but it's like, dude, something's got to change in 2025.
They have 27 people that you got to run through ideas on, and then Tony finally stamps and approves whatever we see on TV.
Who does that sound like, though?
It sounds like 2018, 2019 Raw.
Yeah.
And Vince. It sounds like 93, 94, 93, 94, 92, 93, 94 WWE.
You want to become the powerhouse, the juggernaut like WWE? Great. No problems with that. But you want your company to be WWE light and booking the same way as WWE? Lots of problems with that. TNA got slack for how many years because they were just be WWE light.
Well, and I told you one of the things to peel back the curtain more. I said because the inaugural year of AEW is going to be on Max.
Mm-hmm.
I told you one of the things we should do is do some After Dark episodes where we rewatch Dynamites.
I'm fine with that.
Because year 1 to year 5, and we can go back now and we can watch it and break it down, encapsulate it, and really Monday morning quarterback the shit out of it. But the drastic differences between year 1 and now what's on Dynamite, it's going to be night and day, and it's going to be the exact reasons as to why the company is where they're at right now from a rating standpoint, from an arena ticket sales standpoint, from just an event and people talking about them standpoint.
I am interested in going back because, like, we were the third show for Dynamite here in Pittsburgh, I think, and at least around there, we were in the top 5 for sure. But it's like there was that hype was there then. It was fun to watch live, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch that. Just to
that was
see.
Cody and Jericho. Cody breaking into the suite in that, like.
That was tag team wrestling. I think it was Private Party and Young Bucks that kicked off the show. Or something like that. It's like, so there's definitely, when we watch it back, there's going to be differences.
But I mean, it's going to be crystal clear that Tony Khan doesn't know how to book a show.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't know how to tell stories.
All right, moving on. AEW International Championship, Takeshita versus Hobbs. I'm interested in here because this is one of those few matches on here. Like, I know Takeshita is going to deliver, but it's one of the matches I, again, just don't care about. And it's two people that I should.
Yeah, like the way you brought Hobbs back and him having beef with the Don Callis family because they just left him to hang out and dry while he was injured, That makes total sense. Has it been spotlighted and told and fleshed out and everything else that Hobbs as a babyface should have to go through in order to get a title shot? No. Yeah, I got Takeshita not dropping the belt, but
same. I'd be very surprised if he dropped the belt. And it's not I don't think it's the person to beat Takeshita. Up next, the match I know you're really looking forward to, MJF versus Adam Cole. You finally got on Collision this week that MJF says that he was going to turn on Adam Cole. If there's an advancement in the storyline, that was the advancement in the storyline.
No, he said he was initially, but then they became the brochachos and he actually cared about Adam Cole. So right there, you contradicted yourself as far as what the main
that was before, but he said at Worlds End last year before he was gonna turn on him.
Oh, so let me just throw that in there. That a year ago, I actually was gonna turn on you.
Yeah.
Before the brochacho thing.
Adam Cole beat him to the turn before he could do it, is what he was saying. The brochacho thing happened, and that was because that would be a year ago that the devil came out.
The fact that you're telling me all this and we're trying to break this down and flesh this out is exactly why nobody cares about this.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too long and too much.
Look, injuries happen. Injuries, it's not ballet, as JR always says.
Mm-hmm.
There was no reason to go back and force feed this just to get them to have the match that they were supposed to have if the injuries didn't happen. Sometimes you got to cut your losses, go separate ways, and then circle back around to it later on.
Yeah.
Force feeding this in when nobody cares about it. Adam Cole has been made to look like a complete schmuck. MJF's stick is old and retired. I didn't even pop for the whole, maybe you have a cavity and your dentist isn't seeing you anymore. I didn't even pop for that typical MJF bullshit. I don't care. And the fact that it's for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, which means what? You get a championship match? Isn't that what the Dynamite Diamond Ring means?
I think it just is for the ring. I don't think you become number one contender. I could be wrong because I'm not paying that much attention to it, but
so again, it's for what? A prop that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And if it does give you a title match, neither one of them, I still don't see either one of them beating Moxley.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll go. I guess I'll go with Adam Cole. I really don't have. I don't have the. I don't have that.
Oh, Jason, no. Time draw, the saga continues.
He put it out there in the ethos. And if that happens, I'm driving directly to his house.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm gonna say MJF wins, just because it's for the ring. That's just MJF's thing.
But how many times are we going to do that? There'll be 5 years in a row where MJF has won the stinking ring. Like, what's the point in even doing it? It's Battle of the Belts.
Yeah. But if Adam Cole wins and we get rid of this ring once, like I know it got stolen, a few months ago, but if we actually get rid of this thing once and for all, that'd be the only benefit of the match to end it. But it's a gimmick it's like much like some of the other titles. It's a gimmick.
You've given me 3 matches on this card so far, and I have not cared about one match.
Yeah. We're going to keep going with that. So up next, Tijuana Street Fight for the AEW Women's World Championship. Is the match going to be good? Probably, because of the 2 women that are in it. I know Jason's not a Mariah May fan, but I like both of these women. So
yeah, I already said why? Why? What does this do? What does this do for Thunder? I know people hate on Bully Ray, but what's the line Bully Ray says all the time? One gets over, one goes over. That's the main goal in every single pro wrestling match. Does it always work out that way? No. But in this
Is that
instance,
your prediction?
like to have, so what? You have Thunder Rosa lose, and what does it do? How does it help Mariah? How does it help Thunder? How does it push storylines forward? How does it make the women's division evolve? How does it make me want to care to see who's next? Where do we go from here? Why would I want to tune into the women's division on Wednesday night? It does none of those things.
The only way this advances anything is if Mina gets involved, and that's not Mina. So it's like that's kind of pointless for her to get involved.
But they already ran Mina and Mariah. They blew that just like they blew Ospreay and Ricochet.
I mean, I think we're going to circle back to that. I mean, we got Mina coming up against Mercedes, but
and that's at Wrestle Dynasty. So that you know, but yeah, I'll go with Mariah.
Yeah, I don't see Mariah losing the belt. So you have kind of like what we talked about, how the Bloodline rules matches never helps the Bloodline. You're going to do a Tijuana street fight, and it's not going to help the person that it's made for.
It's from Tijuana.
All right, up next, we're going to get into the Continental Classic shit. First match, Ospreay and Fletcher.
Why did they change the format?
I have no idea.
You're telling this story with Ospreay and Ricochet the entire time during the Gold League, and then they get to the semifinals, and guess what? They're not wrestling each other. You're gonna go wrestle the number one guy from the Blue League. Why? Why? So we can get Ospreay and Okada? You can still get Ospreay. You can still get Ospreay and Okada if Okada face Fletcher.
Yeah. Isn't it supposed to be whoever wins Blue League and who wins Gold League, they fight for the title?
Yes. But you completely ruined your whole entire format by doing this.
Why do we have, like, if you want to do a tournament, do a tournament.
You college football playoffed yourself. You CFB'd yourself. You screwed up the seeding. There's no reason why Boise State and Arizona State should have gotten a bye, and why Oregon has the toughest road to the national championship after they went undefeated and went 13-0.
And
why
then
are you complicating things?
And then what? Ospreay and Claudio tied, but because Ospreay beat Claudio in a match, Ospreay won. Like, he's the one that advanced.
Fine. If you're tied on points, then you got to go head to head. So I understand that.
If you want to cram so much, like what we had, like I think 4 matches on Dynamite this week. If you want to cram that all at the end, you could have done 5. You could have had a match between Ospreay and Claudio again to see who advances. That should have been the match on Dynamite.
The whole card on Wednesday night was Continental Classic matches.
And
does Kyle Fletcher beat Will Ospreay twice in back-to-back matches? For Fletcher to face Okada.
Yeah.
Again. Which, look, man, was Fletcher and Daniel Garcia entertaining on Wednesday night? Yes. But where you kill pro wrestling, and this is why I can say only in-ring bell-to-bell goes so far. Kyle Fletcher hit a brain buster on Daniel Garcia on the apron of the ring, rolled him in, and gave him a Keith Lee Spirit Bomb power bomb, and back-to-back moves, no rest, no hesitation. Those were the 2 moves back-to-back. And Daniel Garcia kicks out. So not only have you made both moves irrelevant, you've made the apron of the ring irrelevant. You've made Kyle Fletcher irrelevant. You made Daniel Garcia into the super serum Captain America, and he ended up losing the match.
I felt the same way on Collision. It was Ospreay and Brody King. And the match was all right. It went a decent distance. But you had a build-up. And we've talked about this before, and we're going to talk about it again briefly. Ospreay hits the Styles Clash on Brody King. It's a big boy to be picking up for that. and a lot of weight to be going down whenever he hits that Styles Clash, and then he kicks out. And then you have like 3 more minutes of just finish, kick out, finish, kick out, finish, kick out until you get the ending. If he would have just won that match right there, hitting Big Brody King with the Styles Clash, which to me was a natural ending point when watching it, that would have had more of an impact. It would have made the move more impactful and the match. But you just kept going on because this is how they're booking now.
Yeah, it's the glorified indie wrestling with the no selling and everything else. So you can't. And the fact that
needs to have that.
Does AEW even have producers anymore?
I have no idea.
Because when you watch this stuff, it doesn't look to me like people are producing these matches. Because they're doing stuff in there that makes no sense. And it's killing the credibility of the matches. I don't care if Meltzer gives it 5 stars. The fact that Darby Allin took a Styles Clash off the apron onto the floor, got rolled in and kicked out, kills the business. He's 165 pounds.
So then Bleacher Report this week, they kind of brought up a thing too, while we're talking about that match with Kyle Fletcher, that like their best and worst of AEW, and I was going to talk about that after we're done with our predictions, but it kind of ties in here. One of it was, the lackluster momentum with too many titles in AEW. So you had Daniel Garcia last month win the TNT title. And then what happens? He doesn't go to find a contender for that title. He moves in to fight for another title.
And he doesn't make the semifinals or the finals. So what does that do for your TNT champion? Just like I said during the last match, one goes over, one gets over. What have you done to build credibility in your TNT champion by having him go into a tournament for another belt and he doesn't even fight for that belt?
This makes no sense.
There's nobody else on the roster you could have thrown in there for Daniel Garcia? Give me Ospreay. I think we'll get Ospreay and Okada. Again, why are you blowing that match off in a freaking Continental Classic tournament? Makes me angry.
Yeah. I mean, Fletcher should win. Like if we're putting people over, Fletcher, we're putting the momentum on him, right? But just to lose, like,
I mean, if you're going to strap the rocket to Fletcher, then you have him win this whole thing.
And I don't want to see that, because one, it's a belt that doesn't matter at all. But
it will at least free up Okada to move into the heavyweight title picture.
Will it though?
I don't know. I'm just. Yeah.
I get where you're going with it. Like that's where he should be, but I don't want them just to feed him to Moxley, either.
No, I'd have him beat Moxley. Again, why would you put the belt on Darby Allin before you put it on Okada?
Yeah.
I said it earlier.
So this is the part that I don't understand. Like Okada, right now, Okada should win the whole thing, because with the Young Bucks storyline ending, at least seemingly ending, what are we doing with Okada right now? Like him being champion at least gives him something to do. Doesn't really need a storyline but defend the belt until we figure that out. But because if they take it off him, they don't put him in the title picture, I don't want Okada just lost in the shuffle.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed him and Shelton. That match was great. You could do a lot there with those two. I would love to see them two actually get a proper feud and build to something. But again, it's like you wasted the match on this stupid tournament. And if Ricochet, after being made to look out like the biggest dorks ever 2 weeks ago with the Hurt Business, making him look like a schlub, and then Swerve backstage in the promo, like, and how is Swerve not in the finals here?
I don't know.
So give me Okada and Ospreay in the finals, and I guess have Okada retained.
I mean, Okada is like the king of the G1, right? Like that's kind of like what they would tout him in New Japan. So it's like if you have him lose this an AEW tournament, like when he's clearly, I get it, like the talent is there and wasn't there for the most part in the tournament, but you can't have, I don't know. If you have him lose this, that's not a good thing for Okada. So give me Okada for the win.
We've talked about 5 titles
mm-hmm.
so far, breaking down this card. We talked about the women's TBS. We've talked about Daniel Garcia and the TNT. We talked about the international. We've talked about the Continental, and we talked about the women's.
Yep.
We've talked about 5 titles. I have not heard the word "I care about the champion" mentioned in any single one of those 5 discussions.
Because I don't care about much of any of it right now.
That right there should be a red flag.
Part of the reason to me, I'd get rid of the Continental Classic. Like you can have it, but not have it as a championship. Like merge the Continental and the international titles together because it doesn't matter. And then whoever wins, just much like the G1, you can call your shot for a title.
You know what this Continental would have been good for? To have Takeshita run through it and face Okada in the finals for the belt, which is what we wanted to see.
Yeah,
when them 2 faced off, not have Takeshita win the international.
When Takeshita was a strong player in the G1, like that would have made sense. Coming off his performance, you put him in here to see if he can go back to back.
Yep. Next.
Final match. AEW World Championship. Mox, Cassidy, Hangman, Jay White. Mox ain't losing. I mean, it's an easy prediction. You're stacking the deck against him and he ain't losing.
Which is...
They covered it last night on Rampage. Can these 3 men coexist? Or whether egos get in the way to give the advantage to Moxley? That's exact. So you know the ending right there.
So the big mega mastermind plan is to have all 3 of these guys turn on each other and Moxley just slither in and get a roll-up victory?
Probably.
On who? Orange Cassidy? On who? Jay White? So you're going to have Jay White get thrown into another multi-man title match for him to
screwed
lose?
Over. After
you bring him back from injury and done what? You had him and Hangman feud, and then what? Nothing.
Yeah. And could have been a fantastic feud. Could have been up there with Hangman and Swerve. I'm either seeing it being that the 3 of them fight, or the 3 of them fight and then the group comes out and attacks somebody. You know, the ref step, is trying to distracted over here to have them do that, and then that's how they win.
Look, man, this is going to be an overbooked clusterfuck. Oh, and by the way, in the background, you still have Christian Cage out there.
Mm-hmm. That'll probably get teased again.
So
and it doesn't matter right now because of the Moxley storyline.
So Battle of the Belts, yeah. I mean, essentially.
So Christian comes back because rumor is Adam could be returning. So Christian comes out and he returns and prevents the cash in.
No, Copeland's coming back on Wednesday with FTR.
Okay.
That's who they're bringing as their 3rd man to face whatever 3 people that the Death Riders face. Claudio, Pac, and Yuta. It's going to be FTR and Adam Copeland in North Carolina. Book it. You heard it here first. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. I really don't care. No outcome in this match makes sense for anybody. Anybody.
Again, it's to the point of we don't need monthly pay-per-views from AEW.
Hangman winning the title means nothing. Orange Cassidy winning the belt this way means nothing because he couldn't beat Moxley one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay White, who should be in the title picture, who should be in the main event picture, who should be getting storylines out the wazoo, who should be irrelevant and a forceful factor in the men's division. Him winning the belt in a multi-man match again means what? Nothing. Moxley retaining and beating these three means what? Nothing. Because who are you going to set up for Revolution? Who are you going to set up for Double or Nothing if you're throwing these three men in a multi-man match right now?
Exactly what Jason has below. Battle of the Belts. Listen, if you enjoy the product, cool. Hope you enjoy the event. But if you're not enjoying the product, I can't, justify you telling people pay the $50 or whatever it costs to watch this. Like,
yeah, I really want to hear from people. Like, why are you shelling out $50 for this? Like, why? Legitimately, why? Because are there going to be are there going to be tremendous matches? Yes.
Sure.
Bell to bell for the most part. Does AEW deliver on pay-per-views? Yes. But that doesn't make me want to spend money to watch. It means nothing. To turn right back around and do what on Wednesday? Because you need to make Wednesday a big show. You need to make Wednesday a huge thing. You need to make Wednesday a big-time success. If you're debuting streaming on Max and you don't have something in the tuck ready to go to make it a big event, 4 days later after a pay-per-view, what have you done? They've been hyping up Raw on January 6th for 10 months. You're already getting Cena coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting you have all these things teed up. They're making it a spectacle. They're making you have to tune in and watch it. By just saying,
Saturday night's main event.
Tony Khan saying, "Oh, we're starting a new era. We're starting a new era, and this is going to be our first streaming. And the matches that you have lined up are what? FTR in a 3-way with Adam Copeland coming back, Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart. What else? Because none of your storytelling has led me to make sure that I have to tune in to see something piggybacking off of a pay-per-view.
That's why I said before, I feel like they have to do something here to get you to tune in for Wednesday. And if all of it is just stupid Moxley shit again to end again, seeing as you ended that with Dynamite and Rampage, and if we end it with stupid shit again tonight, I'm not going to care come Wednesday. And then if there's not a reason to care on Wednesday after I watch it, it gets cut.
All right, what's your match of the night?
It's probably going to be in the Continental Classic. If it's Okada and Ospreay in the final, that's probably going to be it. But right now, with stuff that's actually booked, I'll go Ospreay Fletcher.
I'll go Mercedes instead. Okay. Are we sure? Are they doing the semifinals and the finals tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Jason says Takeshita and Hobbs is his match of the night.
Listen, Takeshita has had probably 3 or 4 matches this year that has put him up there for match of the year with multiple people and multiple promotions.
Jason, you could have just been on the show today.
Tell he's not doing any work. I know that much. All right. We got anything else?
I brought up before about Bleacher Report. So their best and worst of the year. We'll just get into this real quick. See what your thoughts. For WWE, the best was compelling feuds with a clear direction. AEW, their best was major stories and ongoing rivalries in the women's division. I think that can be debated, but
no.
Their worst
Tony
for WWE
Storm
was.
Mariah. All right, go ahead.
The worst for WWE was underutilizing tag team wrestling. And then AEW, as I brought up before, was diminishing championships. And then kind of one that they did that were pros and cons was WWE's the 5-match pay-per-view format. They like the format, but they feel that there's some room to grow on it.
Yeah, they're going to grow it into 2-night events. I said it last week on the show.
Yeah.
I said you're going to have Royal Rumble be 2 nights with the men's main event in one night and the women's Royal Rumble main event night 2. And I said Money in the Bank would be 2 nights with the men's main event 1 and the women's main event night 2. And lo and behold, what came out this week? WWE is looking to make Royal Rumble 2 nights in 2026 and Money in the Bank in 2027.
Which I didn't understand why I saw that come out and people were just like, oh, this is breaking news. Well, it was already breaking news last week whenever the CEO talked about it. Now people are just trying to make a clickbait headline, so they can get the credit for it.
Yeah, but I told you this last week what pay-per-views would be 2 nights.
Oh, I guarantee there will be more. Because especially if they keep doing like the international stuff, I guarantee the international stuff, even if it's not a themed event, it'll become 2 nights just to get the more money.
And I said Survivor Series would be traditional 5-on-5 night 1 and War Games night 2, or War Games women and War Games men.
Yeah. I'm not going to enjoy this era. One more thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This week, whenever WWE launches on Netflix, there's going to be some new programming. There's going to be a WWE Top 10 show. Big E's going to host a WWE Raw Classic matches, a Road to WrestleMania show, and then I don't know if they're repackaging like the biography stuff, but there's going to be a WWE Superstar profile, like of current talent, and then a Legends profile show. So we'll see if they're new or if they're just repackaged.
Well, the Legends show, they announced who's going to be like hosting that. So that's like Bully Ray, Mickey James. There's like 4 or 5 people.
They're doing that show too. Because they're supposed to do like a
I thought that's what it was.
No, they're doing a reality show.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was.
The Legends are just profiles. That's just like
why do you have Legends in the title for both shows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's what made me think that that show. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's a brave.
At least there's some. It's stuff that I didn't know that was going on there. So at least it's some content for day one.
But at the same time, so what? So now I got to go. So you got all this new content rolling out on top of Raw on Netflix for WWE, but then I still got to tune into A&E for biography and all that. Like, is all that going away or what?
Because I don't know.
How long of a deal did they sign with A&E for that type of stuff?
Probably we'll still tune in for that, but I'm not sure how long.
And where's all the stuff? Where's all the stuff? Because the library is not transitioning over,
correct,
to Netflix. So they're going to move
here in the U.S. Everywhere else in the world, yes.
So they're going to move the library onto YouTube on the Vault channel.
A lot of it's going to be moved to,
Or
because they've already said even the stuff on Netflix isn't going to be like what the network was. It's selective content.
So you're losing all that.
You're losing the network, completely.
I mean, it got dumbed. But I mean, a lot of it that was on Peacock got dumbed down just because of Peacock's practices and standards. So
like I think one of the things that they said was like you're not going to get like all the pay-per-views, like how you had all of WWE, WCW, and ECW. I think you're just going to get like WWE pay-per-views. So like WCW and ECW, like they're doing a WWE or an ECW week on the Vault channel this week.
Yeah,
You'll
but
probably see shit like
I
that.
just want to go in and I just want to watch ECW, where am I going to find it now?
I got DVDs right here. That's how it's going to be now. Kind of sucks. And like I think they were talking like it's just going to be like rotating content too. So things are going to come on, things are going to come off.
It's the WWE network, and we should do this as a after dark next year in the beginning of the year to go and break and really discuss and break down the network and what it was, what it meant, how it impacted things, the visionary, the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, for what we see now from all these other streaming platforms, because the WWE network laid the groundwork for all of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something else we can get into.
Anything that you had for any quick hitters?
No, I didn't really pay attention outside of the main stuff that went on this week to look into any quick hitter stuff. But yeah, we'll see. There's going to be a lot of shaking and moving in 2025 as things progress. So big night tonight, huge night on Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yep. Wednesday night.
And then the following Monday, and we're off and running on the streaming wars.
I mean, technically Thursday will be a big day because I think Thursday will be AEW goes on to Max, so like Dynamite will go on there, other content will be on there, and then Netflix content for WWE on Thursday too.
This coming Thursday before it
January
debuts
1st.
on Raw.
Yeah.
Well,
so some of those shows you'll see on that I was talking about. Some of those you'll see on there.
Yeah.
And then if you're outside the U.S., you'll get everything on Thursday.
On Wednesday. Or the second.
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday's the first. Yeah.
That's why I'm like Thursday.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, Wednesday for AEW and WWE.
Yeah, I'm not getting on Netflix stuff for WWE until Raw on the 6th. So
okay.
I'm not gonna jump into any of that content. Wednesday will be Max for AEW. And we'll see. And I'm gonna watch it on Max instead of watching it on TBS or TNT.
That's what I was thinking too, just to see how it turns out.
But I don't think it's just gonna be a simulcast. Like it's not gonna be anything different.
But I'm wondering, like, I don't know how they do commercial breaks on that stuff. If you see what's on TV, or maybe you'll will you get the picture-in-picture, or will you actually get the match fully? That's what I'm kind of interested in seeing.
I think well, I mean, HBO has ads anyway, so I think you would just get an HBO Max ad. Would they put that in like they do on everything else that's on HBO? If you don't, if you're in a tier that doesn't include ads. And I also heard WWE on Netflix, regardless of what tier Netflix you have, even if you had the no ads tier, you're still going to get ad breaks during Raw.
Yeah, that's what I wait to see how it turns out that day. But yeah, I saw that same thing too.
Oh man, a lot going on.
Yep.
As always, hit us up on social media at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. Head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. Pick up some merch. Taquan, let me know when you get that because it is out for delivery. Tracking information I got, so it is out. All social media platforms at dumbmarkspod. Thanks for rocking and rolling with your boys in 2024. We appreciate it. We love the banter. We love the back and forth. We love the community. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. As always, hit us up. Let us know how we can make the show better and how we can improve it. We got to get some more content out there in 2025. So I feel like we got some things to discuss in the offices here to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to implement that. So make sure you head on over to YouTube, like and subscribe, check the bell for notifications when we go live. Head on over to Spotify. Follow us there, listen to us there for audio only edition. Anything else?
Thanks for doing my job.
I don't know why I just did all that. I just started going and I decided.
So hit it. I'll end things with the quote of the week. It's that time, New Year's resolutions. So just remember this: the best weight you'll ever lose is the weight of other people's opinions of you. The best weight you'll ever lose is the weight of other people's opinions of you. So have a great Happy New Year, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you in 2025.